Hello everybody, Better Believe Steve here. On the grounds of St. Elizabeth in the District of Columbia. I got a phone call this morning from a friend of mine that lives at the 801 shelter here on Martin Luther King Avenue, and he told me that they found a body on the property and told me to come on out here. So I jumped in the car and I came out here, and there was a body that was found. My concern initially was that it was one of my homeless brothers and sisters that had in some way died as a result of something that happened within the shelter. But I was sad to hear that someone had died, but I was happy that it had nothing to do with Catholic Charities or 801 men's shelter. Right now I'm standing by the guard post, and this is where anybody coming into the St. Elizabeth property going to 801 has to enter. This is the only entrance for those people. And this shack is manned by guards during the day, I think up until midnight. Well, the body was found right here in this shed, which is, I would say, is maybe 30, 40 feet away from the guard shack. And I was told that the body had been in here for a couple of days. And as disturbing as that is, what made it more disturbing to me is that a body on these grounds could be in this little shack for a couple of days before it was discovered. Now mind you, the guard shack is right there. On St. Elizabeth property, the whole property is full with abandoned buildings. Okay, so if there's no 24-hour security to question people entering the shelter, that means that almost literally anybody can walk in on this property, whether they're homeless or not, and do whatever they want. This is only an example of one of the abandoned buildings on this property. So what stops a squatter from coming in? I've heard that there's possible squatters in a lot of these vacant buildings, but there's no security to come around and check these buildings and to make sure that nobody is in any of them. And I find that problematic. As I was here, some of the guys were telling me one of the greater issues around this property is the fact that when you enter this property, that there's no lighting, that it's completely dark walking down the hill toward the shelter. Now, like I told you, the shelter is almost 200 yards down this hill. And as I start to walk down this hill, I see a few light posts, but at night, there's no light for these guys. Now, just because they're men, just because they're homeless, don't mean that they don't need to be cared for, looked after, and have some sort of security. It's not safe out here. This is a low barrier shelter, okay? And anything can happen anytime. My problem is that something always has to happen before the district reacts to it. Now this is problematic. Walking down this road, and as you can see, you see 1, 2, 3, or 4 light posts, but at night, there's no lights. There's no lights coming through here. So I want to know why it isn't no lights for the guys coming down here at night. There's been several cases with organizations trying to volunteer through the Streets organization or through the Steve organization of volunteers willing to come down here and help these guys out at night, bring them meals, bring them some much needed training, but they refuse to come down here when it's dark. It's daylight saving time now. It's getting dark at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 5:30. By 6 o'clock, I'm told that it's hard to see your own hand walking down through this hole. Now from midnight to almost 7 o'clock in the morning, it's a free walk zone, all the way down through here. It's a free walk zone with no lights. They found the body in the shed 50 feet away from the guard shack. Hey, after 12 o'clock, There could be a body stashed anywhere on this property because it's a free zone. There's 383 to 400 homeless people that live in this shelter down here. And as I walk down this hill, this is the same walk that they have to make every night. Every night. The only difference is it's pitch dark. Now can you imagine walking down here in the middle of the night? I'm 6'3", 300 pounds. And I'd be kind of shaky about coming down here because I can't see what's back up in the corners, you know? All these abandoned buildings, you know? There could be squatters in any of these buildings. There's no security to ride through and check on the guys. There's nobody walking through these abandoned buildings, making sure that there's nobody up in there. Who knows what's up in these buildings? So I'm saying all of this not as a itch and bitch session, but it's solutions to this problem. And we at Streets have some viable solutions to this problem of added security and lighting. It doesn't take that much. It just takes a little collaboration with DC city officials and some others that's trying to come to solutions. We're not about just complaining about things, but it's a basic need. There's nothing wrong with asking that the guys feel secure when they're coming to the place where they're going to rest their head at night. There's nothing wrong in asking for lighting so that you can see your way and that something won't jump out the dark on you. You know, people that are homeless tend to be a little bit paranoid as it is. So to have them walk through the dark is just like turning the knife that's already in them. So if you're listening to me and you would like to collaborate with the Streets organization in getting some light and some security out here for the men at 801, contact us.